when homeless veteran James Miller found a briefcase containing $2 million in cash outside a downtown restaurant. Everyone expected him to disappear. Instead, he walked 3 miles in the pouring rain to return it. But what the billionaire CEO found inside that briefcase, besides the money, will shock you. This is that story. James Miller wasn't always homeless. 15 years ago, he was a decorated Marine Corps veteran with an engineering degree from MIT. He had a career, a family, a future. But life has a way of breaking even the strongest among us. A divorce that left him financially ruined. A workplace accident that ended his engineering career. Medical bills that buried him. And slowly, painfully, he lost everything. By the fall of 2023, James was living under an overpass in downtown Chicago, surviving on whatever kindness strangers offered. Most days, people walked past him without a glance. To them, he was invisible. But James never lost two things: his dignity and his integrity. And on one rainy Tuesday evening, those two things would be tested in a way he never expected. It was 6:47 p.m. when James noticed the briefcase. He'd been sitting outside Marcello's, an upscale Italian restaurant where business executives gathered after work. The dinner crowd was thinning, and James was hoping someone might offer him their leftovers. That's when he saw it. A sleek, black leather briefcase, sitting alone on the sidewalk, right next to a parking meter. At first, James thought someone was coming back for it. So he waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 20. No one came. Curiosity got the better of him. He walked over, looked around, and carefully opened it. What he saw inside made his heart stop. Stacks of $100 bills, neatly bundled. More money than James had seen in his entire life. $2 million in cash. There were also documents, business contracts, legal papers, and a business card that read, David Chen, CEO, Chen Technologies. James stood there in the rain, staring at a briefcase that could change everything. He could take it, disappear, start over somewhere far away. No one would ever know. But James Miller wasn't that man. James found the address on the business card. Chen Technologies. 3 miles away, in the heart of the financial district. He had no phone to call, no way to reach anyone. So he did the only thing he could. He walked, in the pouring rain, carrying a briefcase worth $2 million, through streets where people looked at him with suspicion and disgust. Every step was a battle. His shoes, worn down and barely holding together, were soaked through. His clothes clung to his body. His back ached from months of sleeping on concrete. But he kept walking, because 15 years in the Marines had taught him something that no amount of hardship could erase. Honor isn't convenient. Integrity isn't optional. You do what's right, even when it costs you everything. 90 minutes later, James Miller stood in front of a towering glass building, the headquarters of Chen Technologies. He walked through the revolving doors, dripping water onto the marble floor. And that's when the security guard stopped him. Sir, you can't be in here. The security guard's hand was already moving toward his radio. James held up the briefcase. I found this outside Marcello's restaurant. It belongs to David Chen. I need to return it. The guard looked at James, dirty, homeless, soaking wet, and then at the expensive briefcase in his hands. Sure you did, the guard said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. I'm going to need you to leave now. Please, James said, his voice steady. Just call Mr. Chen. Tell him someone found his briefcase. He'll want it back. The second guard stepped closer. Sir, we're not going to ask again. What's going on here? A voice cut through the tension. Everyone turned. A man in his mid-50s, wearing a tailored suit, stepped out of the elevator. His face was pale, anxious. It was David Chen. My briefcase, he said, his eyes locked on the item in James's hands. I've been looking everywhere for it. The security guards froze. David Chen walked toward James slowly, staring at him as if trying to understand what he was seeing. You found this? David asked. Yes, sir, James said, handing it over. Outside Marcello's, about 2 hours ago. I wanted to make sure you got it back. David opened the briefcase. His hands were shaking. The money was all there. Every dollar. Untouched. The contracts, the documents, everything. But then David noticed something else, something that wasn't there before. Tucked inside the briefcase, on top of the contracts, was a handwritten note. David pulled it out and read it aloud. Mr. Chen, I found your briefcase outside Marcello's. I know there's a lot of money in here, and I'm sure you need it back. I could have kept it. I won't lie, I thought about it. But my father always told me, a man without integrity is a man without a soul. I hope this finds you well. James Miller, USMC retired. David looked up at James, his eyes glistening. James Miller, he repeated slowly. USMC. Engineering background. James blinked, confused. Yes, sir. How did you? I know your name, David said. We almost hired you 12 years ago. You applied for a senior engineering position at my company. You made it to the final round. But then you withdrew your application. James's throat tightened. That was right after my accident. I couldn't. I wasn't in a position to work. David nodded slowly, understanding. James, he said, his voice firm now. You just returned $2 million to me. Money that could have changed your life. And instead of keeping it, you walked 3 miles in the rain to do the right thing. I don't care what happened 12 years ago. I care about the man standing in front of me right now. David extended his hand. I'm offering you a job. Senior consultant. Full benefits. Company housing until you get back on your feet. And a signing bonus to cover anything you need. James Miller, the homeless veteran who'd been invisible to the world for months, stood there in disbelief. Why? He asked, his voice breaking. David smiled. Because integrity like yours is worth more than $2 million. And I don't hire people based on where they've been. I hire them based on who they are. 6 months later, James Miller is no longer homeless. He lives in a modest apartment in downtown Chicago. He works as a senior consultant at Chen Technologies, helping design sustainable infrastructure projects. And every day, he walks past that same restaurant where he found the briefcase. But now he's not invisible. Now, he's proof that one honest decision can change everything. David Chen later said in an interview, James didn't just return my money. He reminded me what kind of people I want in my company and in my life. This is a story about integrity, about second chances, and about the truth that doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, is never wasted. Because honor always finds its way home. If this story moved you, subscribe for more inspiring true stories. And remember, your character is defined not by what you have, but by what you do when no one is looking.